James had always been a man of convenience. He didn't enjoy complications, and for the last few months, his life had become just that complicated. And his girlfriend, Emily, had insisted they adopt a cat. He wasn't thrilled about it. He never considered himself much of an animal person. They were messy, they needed attention, and they didn't always listen. But Emily had wanted a pet, and after some convincing, James had reluctantly agreed. At first, it wasn't so bad. The cat, a small, gray tabby named Iskoj, was quiet and kept to herself. She'd sleep on the couch, curl up by the window, and for anyone paid attention to her. But over time, things changed. Iskoj began to become more demanding, needing more attention than James was willing to give. She scratched the furniture, knocked over his favorite coffee mug, and would climb onto his desk while he was trying to work, demanding attention when he had none to spare. The breaking point came one night when Iskoj knocked over a vase of flowers that Emily had placed on the coffee table. James had been annoyed, but it was Emily who was furious. She argued that they should do something about the cat. James didn't want to get into it, but he knew that Emily wasn't joking. He couldn't bear the thought of more fights over something so trivial. He thought about it for days, trying to come up with a solution, and in the end, he made a decision. He would take Iskoj to the woods, somewhere far from the city, and let her roam free. It seemed like the easiest option. The cat would be gone, out of sight, and Emily would never have to deal with her again. He convinced himself it was the best thing for everyone. The plan was simple. James woke up early that Saturday morning, slept a leash around Iskoj, and took her for a walk through the nearby woods. The weather was overcast, the sky grey with the hint of rain. James walked briskly, avoiding eye contact with anyone as he made his way deeper into the trees. Iskoj seemed confused, tugging slyly on the leash, but James didn't pay her much attention. She had been a nuisance for too long. Eventually, they reached a secluded part of the woods, far enough from the main path where no one would see him. The trees here were thick, their branches intertwining to block out the sunlight. James paused for a moment, taking in the silence, before kneeling down and unclipping the leash. Iskoj looked up at him with wide eyes, confused and hesitant. But before she could react, James stood up and turned away. Without a word, he began walking back toward the trail. The sound of Iskoj meowing grew faint behind him as he continued to walk, his footsteps echoing in the quiet woods. He couldn't help but feel a pang of guilt, but he quickly shook it off. He had done what needed to be done. He would go back to Emily, they forget about the cat, and life would go back to normal. As James walked back to the trail, a strange sense of unease crept upon him. He kept looking over his shoulder, but there was no sign of the cat. It was almost as if she had disappeared. He told himself it was just his imagination, but the feeling wouldn't go away. When he got back to the car, James couldn't shake the nagging feeling that he had done something terribly wrong. The guilt, the doubt, it all started to weigh on him. He had abandoned Iskoj, left her to fend for herself in an unfamiliar forest. What if something happened to her? What if she didn't make it out there? He shoved the thought aside. There was nothing he could do now. It was over. The following days were a blur for James. Emily was still angry about the situation with the cat, but she didn't know exactly what had happened in the woods. James kept up the pretense that he had taken Iskoj to the shelter, that he had done the responsible thing. It was easier that way, easier than telling her the truth that he had abandoned the cat in the forest. But the guilt lingered, gnawing at him. Every time he passed by a window and saw a stray cat outside, every time he saw a pair of eyes watching him from an alley, he felt the weight of what he had done. James didn't admit it to anyone, but there were moments, late at night, when he couldn't shake the image of Iskoj looking up at him in confusion as he walked away. Her small, helpless form, left alone in the woods. A wave of regret washed over him, but he shoved it down. It was done. Then, 5 days later, something unbelievable happened. James was sitting on the couch, mindlessly scrolling through his phone, and he heard a soft scratching at the front door. He glanced up, surprised. Emily had gone to up, and there was no reason for anyone to be knocking on the door. The sound persisted, a gentle, rhythmic scratch, followed by a soft meow. James froze, his heart suddenly pounding. His mind immediately raced to his cause. No way, he thought. It couldn't be her. He had left her in the woods. It was impossible for her to have found her way back. The scratching continued, now accompanied by the meowing. It was faint, but it was there, unmistakable. He stood up slowly, his feet feeling heavy as he walked toward the door. He opened it, half expecting to find a stray cat, one that had wandered into his life in a way that was almost too coincidental. But when he looked down, he couldn't believe his eyes. There, sitting on the doorstep, was his cousin. She was dirty and bedraggled, her fur matted with tiggs and dirt, but her eyes were the same. Eyes, intelligent, and full of recognition. She looked up at him, mewing softly, almost as if to say, I'm home. James stood in shock, unable to move. How was this possible? How had she found her way back? He had abandoned her in the woods. How could she have survived? The very idea of a cat making its way back from the dense forest seemed impossible. Yet, there she was, sitting patiently at his feet. It wasn't just that his cousin had found her way back, it was the fact that she was alive. She was alive, and she was looking at him with the same familiar eyes, the same unconditional love that she had always shown. James knelt down slowly, his hands trembling as he reached out to pet her. She didn't hesitate, she nuzzled his hand, rubbing her face against him like she had never been away. He couldn't understand it. What kind of cat was this? He had done everything to get rid of her. He had abandoned her in the woods, far from any lodges, far from any real civilization. And yet, here she was. It didn't make sense. His cousin meowed again, rubbing against his legs and begging for attention. James was flooded with emotions, guilt, disbelief, relief, and even a hint of awe. How could a cat survive alone in the wild for so long? How could she have found her way back to him? As he let her into the house, James couldn't stop staring at her. She was no longer the same cat he had abandoned days ago. There was something different about her, something almost otherworldly. She had survived something he didn't think was possible. Maybe she wasn't just any cat. Maybe she had a strength in her that he hadn't given her credit for. He watched as she walked into the living room, her tail held high with pride. His cousin was different, and James couldn't put his finger on why. There was a new air of confidence about her, a sense of purpose that he hadn't seen before. She was no longer the timid, slightly needy cat he had once known. She seemed wise. In some strange way, she had transcended her small, domestic existence and returned as something else entirely. Later that night, as James lay in bed, he found himself staring at the ceiling, still processing everything that had happened. His cousin had returned, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. It wasn't just that she had come back. It was the fact that she had come back to him, against all odds. How had she found her way here? How had she known where to go? The next morning, when James got up, he found his cousin sitting in the corner of the living room, staring at the door. She was alert, focused, as though she were waiting for something. She didn't even react when he walked by. Her gaze remained fixed, unblinking. James was starting to feel uneasy. He had expected a typical reunion, a grateful cat, a few meows, maybe even some affection. But this was different. His cousin had returned, yes, but she wasn't acting like the same cat. She was quieter, more observant. And there was a strange energy about her now. Curious, James approached her slowly, crouching down to meet her gaze. It's cause, he said softly. Art happened to you out there in the woods. It's cause didn't respond, but her eyes locked onto his, filled with an intelligence that made James pause. It was as if she was trying to communicate with him, trying to tell him something he couldn't quite understand. Then, without warning, it's cause turned and walked toward the door. She sat down in front of it, scratching at the wood with her claws. James watched, confused. She had never behaved this way before. His curiosity got the best of him. He opened the door, wondering if she was trying to go outside again. But as the door swung open, it's cause stopped. She glanced back at him, then walked slowly toward the garden in the backyard, her body moving with an almost purposeful stride. James followed her, unsure of what was happening. It's cause made her way to the far corner of the garden, where the tall grass grew thick and wild. She paused there, as if waiting for him to catch up. When James reached her, she looked up at him, then back down at the ground. Her eyes flicked from side to side, almost as if she was scanning the area. And then, as if on cue, she suddenly pounced, her claws digging into the ground. James stepped back, startled, but then he saw it. There, buried in the earth, was something shining. It was a small, metallic object, something that glinted in the sunlight. It's cause poured at the dirt, uncovering the object. It was a pendant, an old, tarnished piece of jewelry that seemed to have been buried for years. A chill ran down James's spine. The pendant looked ancient, like something from another time. He had no idea what it was, but in that moment, he felt an overwhelming sense of connection with him, the pendant, and his cause. His cause looked up at him once again, her eyes filled with something he couldn't quite place. Then, she meowed softly and nudged the pendant toward him. James knelt down slowly, his fingers trembling as he reached for the pendant that his cause had uncovered. It was old, covered in dirt, and the unscalded surface was now dull and tarnished. There were markings on the pendant, but they were so faded that James couldn't make out what they meant. His heart raced as he picked it up, brushing away the last remnants of dirt. The moment his fingers touched the pendant, a strange sensation washed over him. It was as if the air around him had changed. The temperature shifted slightly, and the world seemed to quiet down, as if holding each breath. His cause remained silent, watching him closely, her eyes never leaving his face. James turned the pendant over in his hand, and for a split second, he thought he saw a faint glow emanating from it. His breath caught in his throat as he leaned closer, his eyes straining to see if he had imagined it. But the glow was gone as quickly as it appeared, leaving him unsure if he had truly seen anything at all. Shaking his head, James stood up and walked back toward the house, still holding the pendant. His cause followed him closely, her steps light and measured. Once inside, James set the pendant down on the kitchen counter, his mind racing with questions. What was this? How had his cause known where to find it? And why did it feel so significant? His cause jumped up onto the counter beside him, her gaze fixed on the pendant. She let out a soft meow, as though urging him to understand something he couldn't yet grasp. James stared at the pendant for a long moment, trying to make sense of it all. The mysterious glow, the way the pendant seemed to call to him, it all felt like a sign, like something was unfolding right before him. He couldn't ignore it any longer. Something deep inside told him that this wasn't just a random occurrence. His cause hadn't just wandered back home by chance. The pendant had led her here, and in turn, it had led him to a deeper understanding of his connection to this strange, seemingly supernatural event. The next few days are filled with restless energy. James couldn't stop thinking about the pendant and the way his cause had acted since her return. It was as though she had become something more, something far beyond the ordinary cat he had once known. She had shown him a glimpse of something much larger than he could comprehend. That evening, as he sat at the kitchen table, turning the pendant over in his hands, he began to search the internet for anything related to it. He searched for ancient symbols, for pendants with strange markings, for anything that might give him a clue as to what it was. Hours passed as he scrolled through pages and pages of information, but there was nothing concrete that could explain what he had found. It was then that he remembered something, a vague memory from his childhood, from a book his grandmother had once read to him. It was an old folktale about an ancient relic, a powerful pendant that was said to be able to connect humans with animals, to bridge the gap in their worlds. But the story was so fantastical, so unbelievable, that James had dismissed it as just another one of his grandmother's wild tales. Now, as he sat there holding the pendant in his hand, it suddenly felt like the folktale wasn't just a story. It felt like it was real. The pendant, the band between him and his cousin, it all fit together in a way that was impossible to ignore. Determined to uncover the truth, James set out to find more information. He visited local libraries, asking about any legends or old artifacts related to animal-human connections. Most of the librarians gave him puzzled looks, as if he were asking about something out of a science fiction novel. But one librarian, an elderly woman with sharp eyes and a quiet demeanor, pulled him aside one day after he had asked his question for the third time. "I've heard of something like that," she said, her voice low. "It's an old story, passed down in this town for generations. But most people have forgotten about it." James leaned in, eager to hear more. "Art story? Art, do you know about it?" The librarian hesitated for a moment before pulling a dusty old book from the shelf. She opened it carefully, flipping through the pages until she found what she was looking for. She showed him a faded illustration of a pendant, almost identical to the one he had found. The story described how the pendant was said to have mystical powers, a relic from a time long ago. It was believed to have the ability to create a bond with a human and an animal, allowing them to communicate in ways that defied logic. The book explained that the pendant was tied to an ancient word, an word that believed in the sacred connection between humans and animals, a connection that transcended species. According to the story, the pendant was meant to find its way to a chosen human, someone who could restore balance between the worlds of animals and people. James couldn't believe what he was hearing. The more he read, the more he realized that this wasn't just a coincidence. The pendant had found its way to him for a reason. His cause wasn't just a random cat she had been chosen, just as he had. They were both part of something far bigger, something ancient, and he needed to understand it. Armed with the information he had uncovered, James returned home, his mind racing with excitement and fear. His cause was waiting for him, as always, her eyes following him intently as he entered the house. He walked over to the counter where he had left the pendant and held it up to the light, watching as the markings seemed to shimmer faintly. "It's cause," James said, his voice filled with wonder. "You're a part of something bigger, aren't you?" The cat meowed softly, as if in agreement. And in that moment, James understood. The pendant wasn't just a piece of jewelry, it was a key. It was a key to unlocking a deeper connection, a connection between him and the animal world. It was the beginning of something he couldn't fully understand yet, but something he knew would change everything. James didn't know what the future held, but he was no longer afraid. With his cause by his side, he was ready to face whatever came next. Together, they would uncover the mysteries of the pendant, the ancient band it represented, and the incredible journey that awaited them. The days that followed filled with an intensity James couldn't quite explain. His cause, Once a quiet and somewhat aloof pet, now seemed more attuned to him than ever before. Her behavior had shifted dramatically. She would follow him from room to room, her gaze fixed on him with a knowing look, as if silently urging him forward. And James held the pendant. She would sit beside him, her body still and focused, as though meditating on the energy it radiated. As the connection between him and his cause grew, James couldn't ignore the feeling that something extraordinary was happening. The bond they shared wasn't just that of a pet and its owner, it was deeper, more profound. It felt as though his cause was not merely a companion, but a guide, leading him toward something that was beyond his understanding. One evening, as James sat in his living room, looking at the pendant and contemplating the ancient story he had uncovered, his cause jumped up onto his lap. She settled comfortably, her eyes never leaving his, and for the first time, James realized that she was waiting for him. Waiting for him to take the next step in the journey they own together. His cause, James murmured, scratching behind her ears. Art is it you're supposed to do next? The cat meowed softly, as if to acknowledge his question, but didn't move. James thought about what the librarian had said. The pendant will lead each chosen on to restore balance with ours. He didn't know exactly what that meant, but every fiber of his being told him that he was being called to do something. He could feel it in his bones, as if the very air around him was vibrating with purpose. The next day, while James was out running errands, he found himself drawn to the nearby park. It was a place he'd visited countless times before, but today it felt different. The world seemed quieter, as though it, too, was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. James walked through the park, his thoughts clouded with uncertainty, but as he reached the far end, he stopped. He looked down at his cause, who was walking ahead of him, her tail high, as if she knew exactly where to go. She stopped suddenly and turned to face him, her eyes focused on something in the distance. He followed her gaze and saw, in the center of the park, an old oak tree. There was something about it that drew him in. The tree was large and gnarled, its roots twisted and shook, almost as if it were ancient. As James moved closer, he noticed a small, glowing symbol carved into the bow, a symbol that looked strikingly similar to the markings on the pendant. His heart skipped a beat. His cause meowed and padded toward the tree, circling around it as if urging James to take notice of something. James stood still for a moment, staring at the symbol on the tree, his mind racing. He realized with a jolt that this wasn't a coincidence. The symbol, the pendant, the cat, everything was leading him here. This was the next piece of the puzzle. Without thinking, James approached the tree and touched the carved symbol. The moment his fingers made contact, he felt a surge of energy rush through him, much like the feeling he had experienced when he first touched the pendant. The world around him seemed to shift, the air growing thick and heavy. For a split second, he thought he might fall, but he steadied himself, gripping the tree's rough bough. His cause stopped pacing and sat down beside him, her gaze never leaving the tree. The wind picked up, the leaves rustling above them. And then, in the stillness, James heard it a faint, almost imperceptible voice, whispering in the back of his mind. The balance must be restored. The connection must be made. The voice was soft, ethereal, but unmistakable. James felt a chill run down his spine, but he couldn't look away. This was it. This was the moment he had been waiting for. He didn't know what the balance meant or how he was supposed to restore it, but he felt an undeniable pull to the tree, to the pendant, to the journey that had brought him here. Suddenly, the pendant around his neck grew warm, and a soft light radiated from it, spreading like a wave of energy through the air. The light enveloped him, and for a moment, everything went still. It was as though time itself had paused, holding its breath. The vision came to him then, clear as day. In the vision, he saw Iskaz, but she was not the same cat he had known. She was larger, her fur shimmering red on ethereal glow, her eyes more intense. Around her, there were other animals, wolves, birds, and even other cats standing together, united in a that felt harmonious, peaceful. The animals were not separate beings, but part of a greater whole. It was as though they were a collective force, a living embodiment of nature's power and balance. And then, he saw the human people, standing alongside the animals, working together, side by side. There was no hierarchy, no divide between species. The humans and animals shared a bond, an understanding that transcended language, culture, and even time itself. It was a world where compassion, unity, and respect ruled. As the vision faded, James was left with an overwhelming sense of clarity. This was what the pendant was for. This was what he was meant to do. It wasn't just about reconnecting with the past or understanding the bond between humans and animals. It was about restoring a balance that had been lost, bridging the gap between the two worlds. Iskaz looked up at him with eyes full of purpose, and James knew without a doubt that this was just the beginning. The pendant, the visions, the bond between him and Iskaz, it all pointed to a future where humans and animals could live together in harmony. It was a future where they were equals, where they understood and respected each other. He didn't know how he would achieve this vision, or where it would lead him, but he knew one thing: he wasn't alone. With Iskaz by his side, he had a partner, a guide, someone who had shown him that the impossible was possible, that the connection between humans and animals was more than just a dream. Together, they would change the course of history. Together, they would restore the balance,